I'm even trying to remember a few Post Malone songs at the moment. I'm going to Post Malone on Tuesday. How cool am I?
Are you going to Post Malone?
How cool am I?
Whoa. Welcome to Podcast 1, Launch Time at Putti with your host, Tom Sequoia. What's up? So it's my great pleasure and honor to
Holy shit, that makes me sound old. Who's the old guy?
introduce this man who's graced us with his presence today. Oh goodness.
Yeah, I had a lot to do today, so.
The CEO, the managing director of Putti, Bruce Howe. Oh man, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Yeah, technically your show.
Yeah.
Technically you
Yeah, so don't screw it up.
So he's digging into by the way, we're not endorsing any of these. They're purely decorative.
No, they're not. Popcorn's good.
Yes, bananas are good. Bruce made a note, make it healthy. So
serious popcorn.
we understood that as healthy, meaning
Well, there's nothing else other than popcorn that's healthy.
The way we understood healthy was like a lot. And so hence,
Okay.
here we are. But Bruce, so you've done a lot of TV work and stuff. So you're comfortable. You look really comfortable.
Well, I don't know. Like TV sounds like I was on Shortland Street or something, but I used to, in a previous life, work for Microsoft and Nokia, and so I used to do a bit of stuff for them. Yeah.
Nokia.
It's
You
very,
remember Nokia?
yeah,
Guys?
the heyday. Yeah.
So, like I'll introduce the concept of the podcast, but because this is episode 1, and this is kind of a fresh attempt for Putti. So we're actually going into a new, going to a new era of Putti, as one would say. But Bruce is here, and I want him to kind of tell us what Putti is first. Tell the people, man.
So I suppose the slightly serious positioning
Yeah.
would be like we live by, I suppose it's a purpose. Well, by 2 words, complexity simplified.
Yeah.
Which means that we work really well in complex situations, digital situations. So when, oh God, this sounds so serious, but when businesses can't figure out digital, right? Because of legacy software that is bogging them down, or they just don't have expertise in-house to deal with that or build some sort of new outcome. And so we come in, understand those situations, and then we're really good at building software. And so the simple side of that, so complexity is the complexity of the issues. The simple side of it is delivering something that an end user can use without needing instructions, right? They can just understand whether it's getting a report or ordering something or getting information, whatever the app does, just needs to be able to work in a really simple way. And that's what we're good at. Oh, I felt really grown up there.
Really, really grown up. I'm not used to it.
I prefer not to be that way.
Okay, can you give me the what do you call this? Barroom Pub kind of
Right.
intro for Putti.
Well, to cut it short, I always say we build customized software. That sounds really boring. But then when I tell people the apps that we've done in the past, then that opens up some quite fun conversations.
Yeah.
So like back in the day, we did like big apps like ASOS and Marks and Spencer's. We did their first mobile apps. We've done a bunch of stuff for big hotel chains like Hilton and Ritz-Carlton. In New Zealand, we built and maintained the New Zealand Herald app for years. We did Wendy's hamburgers, which my 2 teenage boys are quite proud of. They never gave us any free hamburgers though.
Wendy's, you hear this?
Yeah, so heaps of apps that people know, right? And homes.co.nz, Neighbourly, Grab One, we built all those first up. Yeah, so that's pretty cool, right? Because those are apps that people play with and use day in, day out.
Look, when I joined Putty, I was even amazed. Like, I mean, just the track record, it's pretty darn cool.
It is pretty cool, yeah.
Pretty cool, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, and yes, you make a point. Like when you start talking about apps, somehow, I guess it's a more accessible piece of technology where people can immediately kind of,
Yeah.
oh, so that's what you do. But when
Yeah.
you say software, it's almost, even if software historically has been around for a longer period of time, people are like, software, you know, whatever that means.
Yeah. Well, I think like a lot of people just kind of freak out a bit, right? Because like actually building software, most people can't get their head around.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we all learned a little bit at school, or maybe you've gone on a HTML course, or I don't know what, you know, like people, it's not that foreign nowadays, but like to actually design an app from scratch, build it, test it, maintain it, no, that freaks people out, man. And it is complex, right? I mean, you've got to have some pretty smart people to be able to do that. Obviously, I'm not one of them, but you need to have some smart people that can do that.
Okay, cool. You've introduced Putty. Now tell us something quirky about yourself before I introduce the concept of this whole podcast.
Quirky.
Oh man, this is your time to brag about whatever it is that you know.
Okay.
People don't normally.
Well, bragging is quite easy. I can do a lot of that. Like, how many examples do you want? Okay. So something that people find interesting is that I've spent about half my life in New Zealand, and the other half is in 9 other countries.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's fun. It's a different view on the world, isn't it?
Well-traveled, well-rounded human being.
Yeah.
Eh?
I did the,
very cultured.
you know, on TripAdvisor you can like map, you drop pins on the map.
Yeah.
And I got to about 40 countries.
Ooh.
Yeah. And I'm sure I've forgotten.
Weird flex, or just flex. You're just flexing 40 countries.
But actually, that's not much. I used to have a guy that worked for me at Nokia, and he did every country in the world.
Who has the time?
Well, it was an obsession. and he used to fly on Emirates.
Sorry, 40 countries? Is this by choice?
Yeah, no, it's a thing. Like there's like 3,000 people in the world that have done it.
No. For you, I mean, like specifically, was it by choice or was it like
choice,
circumstantial or?
Okay, so the first part of it was not by choice. My parents were expats. So Dad worked for Goodyear Tires. I'll tell you a joke about that another time. But yeah, and so I left New Zealand when I was 10. I then went to India, stayed in New Delhi, then Philippines, Manila. Oh. Then I graduated high school in KL in Malaysia. And then I enjoyed it. It was a great lifestyle. Like either you love that kind of thing or you don't.
Yeah.
And then I took my family and 3 kids, and we did Singapore, Lebanon, South Africa, Kenya, and Malaysia as well.
How'd you look? You're Kiwi. I've been in New Zealand for some time.
Yeah.
How did you deal with the heat of these other countries that you've been? Like Philippines, were in front. It's pretty hot.
Yeah.
You melting?
And I do have a bit of a sweating issue. So I actually have researched in depthly the undergarment, the sweat catcher, and so like a vest, right? So most Kiwis wear cotton ones at times, but man, there's some cool technology around the world, and I ended up finding Uniqlo, the Japanese.
Yeah.
So they do a really nice light, and I'd wear that because I get into events and presenting, and I'd be like, you got to point to something, and they go, oh my god. Just pits of sweat.
Speaking of Microsoft, you remember that one meme? Edit this in, but this one meme where this guy was just hyping the crowd, and he was like, Steve
Ballmer. Yeah, he's a nutcase. I've met him.
He's pouring.
Yeah, that was the launch of
something.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was.
Developers. Yes!
Obviously, he was so excited about that.
Yeah.
He was really excited about that.
Yeah, he screams. So he's the dude that now owns the LA Clippers.
No way.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, it pays to be American and scream and rant and rave.
Pretty cool. Pretty damn cool. Woo!
He was like,
Yeah.
like really
Yeah.
stoked about like a new little like button maybe.
No, what was it? It was one of the new, was it Windows or something? Anyway, yeah, and he was running around going, I love Microsoft. Yeah.
Here's what you don't understand about the world we're in, which is technology, software, and code, and all that, is that we get excited about the weirdest things. You know, like a new typeface or a new string of code that does another thing.
Well, AI is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That one kind of has caught a few people's attention, eh?
No, it's worthy of Robert Downey doing a documentary.
Is he?
There is a documentary out there.
Oh.
AI. And it's like
not about his drug addictions and
no, it's about like there's what I don't like about how AI is being like discussed, because there's multiple dimensions of how it's being discussed. It's the whole fatalistic kind of view on it, where, mate, when we had the internet, like, bro, like it was also that kind of revolution, you know, like, and
right.
This is just the next iteration, but it is kind of freaky sometimes. Skynet, you know, that kind of thinking.
Yeah.
Skynet. Elon. Anyway.
No, but can I say something on that one? So the reason that people are freaked out about AI more than your average kind of evolution of technology is that there's a lot of job displacement potential, right? And
true.
I think that's the piece that, like I said, there's a couple of things. I think like job displacement, but as a result of it being so tangible to see what it does, right? So by being able to put a prompt into GPT and you just see an outcome in seconds, that's got people freaked out, right? And if you're in a role that generates content, I mean, I can get why it has, but you know, in the space of how long are we now? Mainly, well, it's almost a year that GPT kind of first came to market in the first freak out phase. Now people are less intimidated by it, right? I mean, there are some massive implications still, but it's now become a little bit more part of life.
I would liken it to generally the graphic design industry before Photoshop.
Right, yeah.
You know, where it's all like stencils and, you know, manual design and you run it, and Photoshop came and it's like, oh my God, that's a job killer, you know?
Yeah.
But then I feel like the world just kind of adapted to it after like a season. But yes, there was an initial freak out, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And so my view on it, because I'm like such a philosopher, is that we're gonna have like a few years of collaboration. That will just like AI will just work alongside us to make us more efficient, faster, better, increase quality, all that sort of stuff. And then there'll be another phase. But like these few years will be how we collaborate with AI.
And Bruce and the rest of the team at Putti are very passionate about AI, and not just the technology itself, but helping others kind of figure out how to navigate and maneuver, and you know what, integrate that kind of technology where people who may or may not get displaced will be able to kind of adjust and manage and just grow, in fact, grow on top of that. And I'm going to have them do a little bit of a shameless plug later on this podcast, because that's something that Putti really is spearheading at the moment. Look, everybody, if you're watching or you're listening, this podcast has been designed or created because, as Bruce has mentioned, currently our strapline is complexity simplified, which is a really condensed version of the fact that one of the strongest assets of Putti as a company is being able to figure out the best approach and solution to really complex business problems and get that sorted out through technology, which could branch into multiple different things, AI included. So in this podcast, we choose a specific topic.
Right.
And then we break it down. We simplify it so that the people watch it. I don't know if Bruce is great at this. Well, he says that he is. Just as much as he's great at philosophy.
Well, I'm
depth.
good at hitting golf balls, good at shooting basketballs.
Really?
I don't know how good I'm going to be good at this.
Basketball.
Dude, I was a decent hooper.
Wow. I mean, you learn new things every day.
Yeah.
He's a very layered person, Bruce. So Bruce,
like one layer.
one layer. So Bruce, one of the things that we do, which is something we also kind of recommend if an organization or a business is not quite at the scale and size for an app,
right,
is PWA.
Yes.
Progressive web apps, right?
Correct. Yeah.
And this is the reason we're talking about this is because this is one of the outcomes that we serve out there in the marketplace. And so, Bruce, tell me what a progressive web app is.
Okay.
I mean, I've heard you do it.
Yeah.
But
okay, so